Welcome into beautiful Geneva, Illinois, where we're set for Game 1 of the East Division Championship Series, a rivalry matchup and a rematch of last year's EDCS, the Chicago Dogs, taking on the Kane County Cougars. Hi, everybody. Welcome into Northwestern Medicine Field alongside Colin Rudisil. I'm Connor Klingen, and Colin, it doesn't get much better than this. You've got the two in-state rivals separated by less than 30 minutes, and for a second straight year, facing off for a right to go to the Miles Wolf Cup final.
I think that adds a little extra layer into all of this on top of the rivalry that has already been there. These two teams faced off, 14 times in the regular season, and the Cougars got the best of the Dogs in most of those. 10-4 record, including 3 straight right at the end of the season. So it does feel good going into this, and they had to scratch and claw their way through the Milwaukee Milkmen. Feels like that was a task in and of itself, but it's a brand new day. 5-game series potentially, but Game 1 definitely big for momentum, and the Cougars have Connor Ash on the mound.
Connor Ash, one of the best pitchers in the American Association. But you mentioned, Colin, that was a big challenge for the Cougars getting past the Milwaukee Milkmen in 3 games. Meanwhile, these Dogs, they swept the division champions in the regular season, the Lake Country Dockhounds. So this is a team that has to be feeling really good coming into Northwestern Medicine Field.
Yeah, and I think it just adds that extra layer as we've been talking about. And there's definitely a few guys on this team for the Dogs that have really been starting to stand out. We've been seeing Henry Kuziak swinging a hot bat, and he's actually done pretty well against this man, Connor Ash. See his numbers there, 6-2 for this series. This is that game against Milwaukee. That 1.35 ERA, 1-0 record. He was spectacular in Game 1.
He had to cut through it a little bit. Didn't have the strikeout numbers that he normally does. 132 strikeouts in the regular season. He was in the top 5 in ERA, innings pitched, strikeouts. He lost out on Pitcher of the Year to Jake Dykoff for the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. But I'd argue, Colin, he was probably the runner-up if that was an award.
I think so, too. Counting that start he had in Game 1 of the Milwaukee series, 13 quality starts this season for Connor Ash, including one against the Chicago Dogs here at Northwestern Medicine Field. 7 innings he went, only 3 earned runs allowed. Connor Ash at home, by the way, 7-0 with a 2.45 ERA.
He has been very impressive at his home ballpark from Plainfield, Illinois, not too far from here in Geneva. The lineup for the Chicago Dogs, put together by their manager, Matt Passarelli. Henry Kuziak, the shortstop, leading it off. Jalen Williams at second base, hitting second. Jacob Teeter, last year's MVP, hitting third. TJ Hopkins, the left fielder, in the cleanup spot. Chance Sisco, the catcher, will bat 5th. Dusty Stroop at 3rd, hitting 6th. Trip Clark, the DH, batting 7th. And Johnny Turbo in right field, hitting 8th. Reggie Pruitt Jr. will round out the order in center field. Pretty familiar lineup for the Dogs. Defensively for the Cougars, Alex McGarry's in left. Trendon Craig in center field. Armand Upshaw in right. Claudio Final at 3rd, Zane Spin at shortstop, Josh Allen at 2nd, Marcus Chu at 1st, and Nick D'Alessandro, the good friend of Connor Ash, catching behind home plate. So we're ready to go. Game 1 of the East Division Championship Series, Cougars and Dogs. Here's the first pitch from Connor Ash, and it misses down low. We're underway at 6:33 on a nice September night here in Kane County. That's in for a strike. Kuziak, as you mentioned, Colin, he had a lot of success against Connor Ash in the regular season, was 6 for 7. But for the most part, Ash had a lot of success against the rest of the Dogs lineup.
Yeah, 2 home runs against Connor Ash the last time Henry Kuziak faced him. But you mentioned it. Other than that, Ash has done a really good job navigating this Dogs lineup top to bottom through 2 games.
In each of his 2 starts against Chicago, he went more than 6 innings. As here's the 1-2 pitch in the dirt. We'll often see, that time Ash went with the curveball, but a lot of times with 2 strikes, he goes to that splitter. That is his out pitch. It is one of the most difficult pitches to hit in this league.
And he just disguises it so well. We talked about it a lot in the regular season, but for those that didn't hear it, you'll see in his motion the way he just kind of hides it with his shoulder, and you don't really see his hand until the very end of his release point.
2-2, Kuziak fouls it off his foot. It was a very productive first year in the American Association for Henry Kuziak. Hit .309, 12 home runs, 47 RBIs. He was 2 for 10 in round 1 against Lake Country. Here's the 2-2. Popped up on the infield. Zane Spin takes a couple of steps back and makes the catch for out number 1. Our umpires tonight, a four-man crew. Jordan Sandberg behind home plate, Mayhew Edwards at first, Tom Swoboda at second, and Alex Perry is at third. That's a look at Tom Swoboda there. So they go to four umpires. Most of the season, the American Association go with three, but in the division championship and Miles Wolf Cup final, four-man crews as Jalen Williams takes the first pitch down low.
It's pretty cool to see. First time we've seen that four umpires on one page graphic, but obviously leads to some more accurate calls is the hopeful part. It makes everybody's job easier as well.
You don't want to miss a single thing, and it absolutely, you're right about that, Colin. We see sometimes during the regular season you have the umpires on either baseline having to shift behind the pitcher to watch the mound, but now you don't have to move around quite as much. So that one's inside to Williams, 2-1. Jalen Williams, a late addition to the Chicago Dogs, came over in the trade with the Kansas City Monarchs. Brantley Bell going over there in return for Williams, and Patrick Pridgeon, as it's now 2-2. Williams played just 6 games in the regular season with Chicago, 77 of them with Kansas City. 2-2 pitch. Line drive into left field, but it's right at Alex McGarry. And there's 2 down.
Third, first baseman, number 5.
Solid contact there off the bat of Williams, but McGarry positioned well. And the Cougars will now shift over defensively against Jacob Teeter. Heavy pull hitter, and Cougars playing him that way with Josh Allen out into right field. Zane Spinn to the right side of second base, as that pitch misses down low to Teeter.
Teeter 0 for 9 so far in this postseason. 4 strikeouts to go along with it. Connor Ash looking to make him strikeout victim number 5.
Takes high and inside there, 2-0. Teeter had a remarkable 2024 where he was the league MVP. His OPS last season well above 1,000, as that's in for a strike on a fastball. This year, not as productive, but you still have to always watch out for the power of Teeter. He hit 13 home runs in the regular season. That's in there. Another good fastball from Ash, 2-2. And Connor Ash 1 strike away from a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the first. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. D'Alessandro tosses to first, and a 1-2-3 frame for Connor Ash in the top of the first inning. We'll see the Cougars bat for the first time right after this. Trendon Craig getting set to lead it off for the Cougars. A familiar spot for him, the center fielder. He'll be followed up by Josh Allen, the second baseman. Marcus Chu, the first baseman, hitting third. Todd Lott, the DH, in the cleanup spot. Armand Upshaw will hit fifth in right field. Alex McGarry getting a start in left, his first playoff appearance in 2025. Claudio Final hitting seventh, who scored the winning run in Game 3 of the first round. Nick D'Alessandro, the catcher, will hit eighth. And Zane Spinn, the rookie, who had a big game in Game 3, rounding out the order at shortstop. And speaking of rookies, there'll be one on the mound tonight for the Chicago Dogs. Jack Nedro had a tough time in his first playoff outing against Lake Country, Colin.
Yeah, you see the numbers there, 15 on the ERA in just 3 innings pitched, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. And for the Cougars, you know, that's probably a good sign because this has been a team that has struggled a little bit at the plate. So if they can get to Nedro early, that would be extremely helpful.
Just 5 runs scored in that series against Milwaukee. 2 in Game 1. They were shut out in Game 2, and then in Game 3 they scored 3 runs. The final one coming on a wild pitch as Trendon Craig shoots it to the left side. Diving stop by Kuziak, but TC has got too much speed. He beats it out for an infield single.
And that is great to see from Trendon Craig because he was 0 for 10 going into this first at-bat in the postseason. So being able to shoot one in and get some early success against Nedro and some good wheels on for the Cougars definitely bodes well for this game going forward.
Craig had 22 stolen bases in the regular season. And he's got a decent lead over at first base. First pitch to Allen, shows bunt, pulls it back and takes a ball. Alan, you mentioned it a little bit in the pregame, but the Cougars had a lot of success against their in-state rivals in the regular season, a 10-4 record. But I think in many ways, when you get to a stage like this, you can just throw that all out the window.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a completely different time frame. And even, I mean, it was the last series of the regular season, but the Dogs are a different team since that series, and I'd say the Cougars are as well.
1-0 to Allen, misses upstairs. Now, these teams finished out the regular season with 4 games, and after the game on Saturday night, there really wasn't much to play for. They were locked into the 2 and 3 seeds in the division as Allen skies it foul to the right side. But maybe you can take more away from the Cougars' sweep of Chicago at the end of July as we get a look at the Dogs defensively. TJ Hopkins in left, Reggie Pruitt Jr. in center, Johnny Turbo in right, Dusty Stroop at third, Henry Kuziak at short, Jalen Williams at second, Jacob Teeter at first as he takes a pickoff attempt there. And it is Chance Cisco catching for Jack Nedro. Upstairs there to Allen, 3-1. And that's high, ball 4. So the first 2 batters of the ball game both reach base for the Cougars. Feels like the kind of start this team needs offensively.
You're exactly right.
And you can forget the hassle of mixers. Carbless is game day ready. Just chill, open, and enjoy premium cocktails that taste like victory.
It's actually the first time the Cougars had the leadoff man aboard in the first inning, and now runners at first and second with nobody out.
Marcus Chu fouls back the first pitch.
And I mean that obviously from the series against Milwaukee. Never had the leadoff man aboard in the first inning.
Early offense, always important. Oh, 1 to Chu, lined into left center field, a base hit. Craig getting the wave around third, and he'll come in to score. The Cougars take an early lead on a single by Marcus Chu.
Not sure you could have scripted a better start for the Cougars. I mean, Trendon Craig goes up. He's 0 for 10 in that series against Milwaukee, gets a single right away, comes around and scores off of a bat that's also been a little lackluster, and Marcus Chu picking up an early RBI. That is big momentum for a 5-game series, and especially here in Game 1.
Marcus Chu maybe starting to get it going a little bit now. That is his 4th hit of the postseason after had a tough end of the regular season. Here's Todd Lott, and he fouls away the first pitch. Lott had a lot of success against these Chicago Dogs in the regular season. He had .342. He also had a 3-homer game at Impact Field. His second 3-homer game in a Cougars uniform. 0-1 pitch, lifted deep to center. Pruitt Jr. back, and he's all the way at the track. That'll allow Allen to tag from second. Chu tagging from first. Good base running, and the Cougars advance both runners.
Yeah, I think in the end this is going to be one Todd Lott wants back. I mean, that was floated right over the middle of the plate, and he just got a little bit underneath it. Also, going to dead center doesn't help. But overall, a productive out. You move runners over to second and third with just 1 out. Upshaw's in a great spot to drive in a couple runs.
He doesn't get credit for a sacrifice, but essentially that works as one for the Cougars. 2 runners in scoring position for Armand Upshaw, and Upshaw slices the first pitch foul to the right side. Armand had a really nice first round against Milwaukee. He was 5 for 12, had a double and a stolen base. Another one fouled away near the same spot. Josh Allen at third, Marcus Chu at second. Cougars have already put up 1 here in the bottom of the first. And here's a bouncer towards third. This will bring in a run. Allen comes in to score. It's 2-0 on a productive out from Armand Upshaw.
Well, and you said it, that's why that out basically worked as a sacrifice from top lot. Getting that run over to third with just one out, huge when you get a slow roller like that and the speed that Josh Allen has. And 2 early runs, I mean, outside of the game 2 against Milwaukee, 2 runs is huge from what we saw in that last series.
Here's Alex McGarry, his 2025 postseason debut. He takes the first pitch inside. McGarry didn't play in that series against Milwaukee. He was a second-half addition to the Cougars, although not his first time in a Cougar uniform. Played last year with a team that won the Miles Wolf Cup. He was the starting first baseman for the 2024 champions, but he's been playing more outfield, obviously with Marcus Chu established over at first. To McGarry. Lofted into right field. That gets down. Chu getting the wave around. The throw to the plate from Turbo is not in time, and it's 3-0. Alex McGarry comes through in his first postseason at-bat of 2025.
That is so good to see from Alex McGarry, another guy that kind of finished the regular season a little rough, but he just absolutely turns on this one, places it perfectly into right field. You know what? He walked around today with a little bit more pep in his step. He was hitting the ball well in batting practice, and you could just see floating around during warm-ups. I think he was really looking forward to this game against the Dogs.
Well, there's a lot of really good teammates for the Cougars, but when you're in postseason baseball and you're not getting the opportunity to play, that could be a challenge. So I'm certain for Alex McGarry that feels great to get the opportunity tonight, and he comes through in a big way. And I know he's got a good relationship with the first baseman for the Dogs, Jacob Teeter. Obviously, McGarry started this season with Chicago, then went to Kansas City, and then came all the way back around to the Cougars. So here's Claudio Final, one of the heroes of Game 3 in Round 1. In the bottom of the 9th inning of that deciding game, he came through with a single, moved to second on a single from Nick D'Alessandro, moved to third on a wild pitch, and scored on another wild pitch to win the game. Ahead in the count here, 2-0 against Jack Nedro, who will now throw his 20th pitch of the first inning. And that one a little bit high and inside, 3-0.
It's been a bit of a disastrous start for him. He's fallen behind in just about every single at-bat, and the Cougars have been taking advantage of it.
Final taking all the way there, takes strike one. Three-one pitch, outside, ball 4. Second walk of the inning issued by Nedro. And already some action in the bullpen for the Chicago Dogs.
I think that's Patrick Pridgeon warming up for Chicago. Mentioned coming over on that deal for Brantley Bell. And you wonder, I mean, especially in the postseason, how much of a short leash you have for Jack Nedro. But in a 5-game series, how much pitching do you really want to go through?
Nick D'Alessandro takes a first pitch strike. It's a tough decision. We saw in a 3-game series, you have really short leashes for starters because it's 3 games. You know there's going to be an off day after, as that's a foul tip into the glove for strike 2. But I'm sure Matt Passarelli and Stu Clyburn are hoping that Nedro can get through this first. You have to think they'd like to, even with this start, at least find a way for him to get through 4 innings. Otherwise, you're really taxing the bullpen in a game 1. 0-2 pitch, and D'Alessandro with a soft grounder to the right side of the infield. Jalen Williams to first, and that'll end the inning. But what a bottom of the first for the Cougars. They sent 8 men to the plate, scored 3 runs on 3 hits. It's 3-0 Cougars as we head to the second from Kane County. Top of the second inning at Northwestern Medicine Field, and Connor Ash has a 3-0 lead to work with after a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the first. No better feeling as a starting pitcher. TJ Hopkins will lead it off for the Dogs, 4-5 and 6-2 up, and a first pitch strike from Ash.
Yeah, it's an easy statement and a clear statement that, of course, it's easier to pitch when you have a 3-0 lead. But I think when it's Connor Ash, that's amplified even more.
Hopkins with the line drive. That gets through into left field. The first base runner of the night for the Dogs is T.J. Hopkins, coming through with his 5th hit of the postseason.
Yeah, just sat back on it and let it rip right through the left side of the infield. Spin tried to chase it down, and we know he's capable of those big-time defensive plays. I mean, we might not be sitting here right now if it wasn't for Zane Spin's play a couple nights ago.
He made a fantastic play in the 8th inning against Milwaukee, throwing to third to get the lead runner. It was a ball up the middle, showed incredible range to get to it, spun around and tossed to third, and then Claudio Final applied the tag. One of the better defensive plays we've seen in this postseason. But when you talk about moments in the 2025 Miles Wolf Cup playoffs, there's maybe no bigger moment than the walk-off home run that this man hit, Chance Sisco, in Game 1 of the series against Lake Country. That was a wild game that the dot counts tied in the top of the 9th. Then Chance Sisco hit a 2-run homer to win it 11-9. That one in the dirt from Ash. Ash previously was in the Philadelphia Phillies organization, reached as high as Double-A. Two-one pitch, line past Chu into right field. Upshaw there to cut it off, but Hopkins heading for third, and it's runners at the corners for the Dogs with nobody out.
Well, my exit speed says that was 59 miles an hour. I'm not buying it. That was a rocket down the right field line through, and Marcus Chu made a good play on it, but unfortunately not able to get the glove down, and now runners at the corner, nobody out.
I've got it as 101.
Well, that makes a lot more sense. That sounds a lot more accurate.
That was smoked. Here is Dusty Stroop. Runners at the corners, nobody out as Stroop fouls it away. Cougars defensively, double play depth. I think you'd take giving up a run here if you can get a ball on the ground and get a couple outs with this 3-0 lead. Stroop is 3 for 6 in the postseason, a couple of doubles, an RBI in round 1 as he skies this one deep right field. That should be deep enough to score. Hopkins from third. Upshaw makes the catch, and the Dogs are on the board. It's 3-1 on a sac fly from Dusty Stroop.
Second RBI of the postseason now for Dusty Stroop, but he carried a .500 batting average, 3 for 6 going into this with a couple of doubles. So really not terrible outcome, and give the Dogs credit for striking back here. But you'll take the out if you're Connor Ash, get a ground ball and go back in and add on to this lead.
Here's Trip Clark, a former Cougar. Spent some time this year with the Cougars as that breaking ball misses down low. Clark was 3 for 7 in the series against Lake Country. Had a double and 2 RBIs. Clark was also a former dock hound. He's had a journey in the league this year. Played with Lake Country, Kane County, Winnipeg, and then now with Chicago rounding out the year. That's a strike on the inner half there. Clark didn't like it.
That is quite a trip.
It definitely a long journey here in 2025. Credit to Trip Clark for staying consistent. He's performed well throughout the year. Just one of those situations where it can be tough as a catcher especially. But Clark ended the year with a .299 average in 54 games played, 3 home runs, 28 RBIs in the regular season. Takes that one down low, 3-1.
Well, we kind of talked about it the last series of the season against the Dogs, that I don't really think the Cougars necessarily wanted to move on from Trip Clark. It just simply, it's hard to carry 3 catchers, and they had Nick D'Alessandro and Oscar Santos, and there just wasn't enough room for Trip at the end of the day.
3-1 pitch, and Clark skies it in the air. On the infield, Marcus Chu makes the catch for out number 2. There's a look at the Miles Wolf Cup playoff bracket. We're into the Division Championship Series. This one here, and Sioux Falls taking on Fargo-Moorhead in the West Division. So the winner of that series will take on the winner of this series in the Miles Wolf Cup final, which will begin a week from tonight. First pitch to Johnny Turbo, and a swing and a miss. Cougars looking to repeat as Miles Wolf Cup champions, but already it's going to be a more difficult journey than it was last year when they went 7-0. Took a 12-0 loss in Game 2 to Milwaukee, as there's a swing and a miss from Turbo 0-2. And then also you have a longer series in round 2. Last year they swept the Dogs in 2 games. Now you have to win 3 out of 5 to get to the final. 0-2 from Ash. Turbo just stays alive. Ash ready for another 0-2. Here's the pitch. Popped up foul behind home plate. Sounds like a nice catch made by a fan there.
Nothing like postseason souvenirs.
There you go, yeah. A little bit more value to that baseball. Another 0-2. Turbo lofts it into left. McGarry on the run. Almost collides with Craig, but he makes the catch for out number 3. A little dicey there. The Dogs do get on the board on the sac fly from Stroop. We'll go to the bottom of the second. Cougars lead 3-1. Bottom of the second inning at Northwestern Medicine Field, and catch the American Association all postseason long on AABaseball.tv. We already saw 600 regular season games, but now you get the entire postseason all the way to the Wolf Cup final, and all for free. Go to AABaseball.tv and sign up today. Also on Unbeaten Network here tonight, but a pitching change early for the Chicago Dogs. They are turning it over to the right-hander Patrick Pridgeon, who was a late addition to the Dogs, coming over from Kansas City, 26 years old, 6'4", 245 pounds, out of Apple Valley, Minnesota.
Well, we were asking how short of the leash it was going to be on Nedro, and there's the answer, very short. And especially now that the Dogs tacked on a run and made this a 2-run deficit, Matt Passarelli going to Patrick Pridgeon to try to steady the ship.
Pridgeon did not pitch in round 1 against Lake Country as Zane Spinn takes upstairs.
Now pitching for Chicago, number 33, Patrick Pridgeon.
Between Kansas City and Chicago in 24 games, he had a 5.22 ERA. As that finds the zone. 69 strikeouts, 36 walks in 60 1/3. But he was very effective with Chicago in 3 games. Allowed only 1 earned run in 4 2/3. As Spinn taps it foul, first base side. There are the numbers that Pridgeon put up in his short stint with the Dogs following the trade. Sometimes a change of scenery can make a big difference.
Absolutely. And we've seen that all over the place. And the Cougars, you can look at it and, you know, Zane Spinn moving over here and finding some new life, and he's really been a key part in this postseason. You look at Marcus Chu as well and everything he was able to do when we got him from Fargo.
Resetting the pitch clock there. It's a 1-2 count to Spinn. It was 1 for 7, but it was a big hit that he had in Game 3 against Milwaukee. His RBI single tied the game at 2. Or the Cougars went on to win 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th on Saturday night. 2-2 pitch. Spinn fouls it back. We did see a lengthy at-bat between Zane Spinn and Denny Bentley in that bottom of the ninth inning. Bentley got the best of Spinn, striking him out. It was 9-10 pitches. Here's the 2-2. In the air, right field. Turbo drifting over, and he'll make the catch for out number 1.
Picks up center fielder, number 5, Trending Craig.
Back to the top of the order, Trending Craig. Great start for him to this ball game. A single to lead it off, and then he came around to score. Takes the first pitch upstairs. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Bridgham was a 15th round pick out of Florida International by the Detroit Tigers. Pitched in Class A in the Florida State League last year in the Tigers organization, as Craig fouls it away. Started the year with Kansas City, as we mentioned, and then came over in that trade to the Dogs. Two-two pitch. Craig with a line drive into right center field and a base hit. Second hit of the night for Trending Craig.
Definitely refreshing sight here early from TC. Again, 0 for 10 in that series against Milwaukee, but 2 hits in 2 innings now to start his series against the Chicago Dogs. And I mean, you just see the difference it makes when he is aboard. 3 runs in that first off that leadoff single he had.
So here's Josh Allen. He walked his first time. Takes the first pitch inside. Allen had 3 hits and also worked 2 walks in the first round of the playoffs, and he takes upstairs there. Seems like early on, Colin, the Cougars are showing some good patience against the Dogs pitching.
It's what you have to do to be effective at the plate. Work great counts, and Josh Allen does that better than anybody. Led the team in walks in the regular season, and, you know, maybe not swinging the hottest bat like he did last year going into the postseason, but finding ways to get aboard and moving the line. That is what Josh Allen has been about.
3-0 pitch, and that's high, ball 4. The second time that Josh Allen has walked tonight. So a couple of base runners aboard for Marcus Chu. That worked out well for the Cougars in the first inning.
Yeah, blasted in the first run of the game. See if history repeats itself here, but I think just taking advantage of the mistakes is big. Already 3 walks already in this game by Dogs pitching.
Craig at second, Allen at first. And Chu watches outside.
It's 5 straight now, missing the plate by Patrick Pridgeon. So see if Marcus Chu maybe just finds one spot. If the ball's there, swing. Otherwise, I'm guessing this is going to be a take.
1-0 pitch. And Chu lines it into left field. Craig will stay put at third. It's bases loaded with 1 down as Marcus Chu has his second hit of the ball game.
And Connor, this is something we didn't really see in the Milwaukee series at all. The production from the top of the order. And that is when the Cougars are at their best. When they can see Craig, Allen, Chu, Lott, all those guys having success, it just bodes well for the rest of the lineup as well. And now, bases loaded with Todd Lott at the plate. I think that definitely warrants a conversation.
So Stu Clyburn coming out. The Dogs already had to remove Jack Nedrow after 1 inning, so you know they're hoping that Pridgeon can at least bridge the gap, get them 3 innings or so. But he's already thrown 17 pitches and recorded just 1 out. in this bottom of the second.
Well, they got about 4 guys stretching right now in the bullpen. So, I mean, I think it's a question mark right now as to what they're going to do, and it's probably going to depend a lot on what happens here at this at-bat.
So here is Todd Lott. He flied out deep into center field his first time up. Just about no wind right now at Northwestern Medicine Field as Lott watches low and away. He finished the year with just 10 home runs, but anybody who closely follows the Cougars knows how much power Todd Lott really has in that bat. And Lott hits it deep left field. Hopkins going back, and that ball is gone! A grand slam for Todd Lott, and it is 7-1 in the second inning.
Right on cue, Connor Klingen talking about that power, and Todd Lott put it on full display right there. 106 miles an hour on the exit velo. Big on big, proving it on that swing. 4 runs and a 7-1 lead for the Cougars.
A line shot to left field and a 6-run lead for the Cougars in the second inning. What a start. Upshaw takes upstairs. And now the Dogs forced to get some more action going in the bullpen. A little flare into right field off the bat of Upshaw. Tricky play, but the second baseman, Williams, makes the catch.
Man, we have just seen Todd Lott hit some big shots at this field, and that is not an easy thing to do. Second grand slam we've seen, obviously the walk-off grand slam over the scoreboard in the regular season, one of the biggest moments of the regular season for the Cougars. And maybe the biggest moment of the postseason right there, outside of the walk-off, of course, the wild pitch.
Alex McGarry fouls back the first pitch. I don't think it's going to be an easy night to drive the baseball. There's just about no wind. But Todd Lott, I mean, he just destroyed that ball. A line missile out to left field. As McGarry now lifts this one, foul territory, left side. And that'll go out of play.
You got to wonder just how much it just boosted the Cougars after that Game 3 against Milwaukee. Because really, I mean, the bats, they were there in moments, in spurts against Milwaukee, but not like this. And this is where Kane County's at their best.
0-2 popped up. Dusty Stroop, the third baseman, tracking it down, and he's got it for out number 3, but the Cougars put up a 4-spot, a grand slam by Todd Lott. We'll go to the top of the third. It's 7-1, Kane County in front. Top of the third inning, and Connor Ash has a 7-1 lead to work with after the grand slam, courtesy of Todd Lott. It'll be Reggie Pruitt Jr. to lead it off for Chicago in the top of the third, and he takes a first pitch strike. Pruitt Jr. 2 for 7 in round 1 against Lake Country. Had a double and an RBI. And he smacks this to left field. McGarry going back on it. He makes the catch. Well struck ball there by Pruitt Jr., but not quite as well struck as the one we saw in the last half inning.
Yeah, I can think of one ball that was maybe smacked a little harder to left.
That was 102 off the bat.
Yeah, just not quite enough trajectory on it.
Yep.
And a good little track there. Those hard hit balls like that on a line can be tricky to field, but
Absolutely.
McGarry did a good job.
Back to the top of the order for the Dogs, Henry Kuziak, and he takes a first pitch strike. Seems like the Dogs fans in attendance weren't too happy with that one. Big contingent. You know, the Dogs owner, Sean Hunter, and the front office staff, they purchased, I believe it was 250 free tickets for Dogs fans to come out to the playoff game here in Kane County. Definitely a very cool gesture, and fun of the rivalry is that one's hit on a line by Kuziak into left field, a base hit. So Chicago has a one-out base runner.
I don't know if he could have made a play on this, but Spin did throw his glove out at 103 miles an hour, able to even get a piece of that. As it's shooting through the hole is pretty impressive, but trickles into left, and the Dogs with another base runner here in the third.
Here's Jalen Williams. He flied out into left field his first time up. Just one strikeout so far for Ash. We saw he got through 6 2/3 against Milwaukee with only 2 strikeouts. I think that's a sign of the growth and maturation, though, of Connor Ash as a starting pitcher, is his ability to still get outs and trust his defense, even when the strikeouts aren't necessarily there.
Definitely. And I use this word loosely, but we've been talking about even his bad days, and I say that with air quotes, are good days. Like, it's either great or good from Connor Ash.
1-1 pitch, and that misses low and away to Williams. Slight lead for Kuziak off of first base. As that one's back up the middle, a base hit. Back-to-back singles. Kuziak turns on the Jets, heading for third. He'll be in there. Runners at the corners with one down.
Well, give the Dogs credit. I mean, back-to-back innings now with a couple of singles. They're still putting up a bit of a fight already. 4 hits in 3 innings and only the 1 strikeout like you mentioned. So for all intents and purposes, that's pretty successful against Connor Ash.
And David Holmberg coming out to chat with the Cougars ace now. Yeah, this isn't something you usually see against Ash, is some of the hard-hit baseballs. We've seen some exit velocities over 100. And it looks like to me, Colin, that it's been a few fastballs that have been left up. And the Dogs have been ready to pounce on those. With Ash, he's not the type of pitcher that's going to blow it by you. What the key is for him is he locates usually that first pitch fastball really well. He also mixes really well, and then he goes to that nasty splitter that on 2 strikes, a lot of times hitters just don't even have a chance. Here's Jacob Teeter. He struck out his first time up. Swings at the first pitch, hits it deep to left. McGarry back on it, though. He makes the catch. This will bring in a run. Kuziak in to score on the sac fly. And Williams moves up to second. It's 7-2.
Yeah, pretty similar story that we saw in the second inning for the Dogs. Just getting a couple base runners on early and then using that sacrifice fly to drive in a run. And obviously the good news for Connor Ash is the offense is working behind him, having 7 runs as a cushion. You can afford to give up a run here and there.
Here's T.J. Hopkins, singled and came around to score in the second inning. Takes a first pitch out of the zone. Just missed a little bit high there.
This is a lot different than the series we just saw. We've had scoring in every inning so far through 3.
Much different. There's the swing and a miss. Good high fastball from Ash. Well, the Milkmen did put up 12 runs against the Cougars in Game 2, but aside from that, it was tight, low-scoring games. But here, 9 runs, and we're not even through 2.5 innings. 1-1 pitch fouled away. See if Ash can come away with his second strikeout of the night. One-two pitch. Upstairs with a fastball. After that single in the second inning, T.J. Hopkins is now 5 for 9 in the postseason. 2-2. Called strike 3. Second strikeout of the night for Ash. The Dogs get one back, but it's a 7-2 lead for the Cougars as we go to the bottom of the third in Kane County. Bottom of the third inning, the Cougars lead the Dogs 7-2, Game 1 of the East Division Championship Series. And it's another new pitcher into the ball game for the Chicago Dogs, the left-hander Zach Davidson entering. 24 years old, out of Indiana State University. There's the numbers in the regular season. Very effective, 91 strikeouts, 48 walks, and 68 in a third. He's in his second season with Chicago. Came straight to the Dogs last year out of the college ranks at Indiana State. But he is the third pitcher already the Dogs have had to turn to tonight, Colin, and it's not as much of an impact in a best-of-5 series as a best-of-3. But this is good news for the Cougars really working through the Dogs' bullpen early in this series.
Absolutely, and it kind of makes you just wonder how many more pitchers we're going to see from Chicago.
Vinal takes his strike.
Because, I mean, their new philosophy might just be if they only throw an inning apiece or, you know, a couple innings here and there, maybe you don't wear out the arms quite as much.
It has quickly turned into a bullpen game. I almost said a bowl game. I don't know what I'm thinking about there. The month of September. But a bullpen game for the Dogs here tonight after Jack Nedro was chased from this one after an inning, giving up 3 runs on 3 hits. As Vinal fouls it off his foot. Hopefully Claudio's all right here. He is down in pain. That is not good. That is a tough one.
Yeah, definitely some stinging going on. We'll see exactly where it got him here. I mean,
I think it might have just gotten that area that's not quite fully protected there by that shin guard he's got. Scott Ellis taking a look. George Samus is out there as well.
Hopefully it is just a stinger for Claudio. I mean, he's such a big part in that first series for the Cougars against Milwaukee, blasting that home run in Game 1, picking up an RBI, and then, of course, the game-winning run in Game 3. And he's going to try to walk this one off.
Oh, that's good to see. And a lot of toughness from Claudio Vinal. We've seen that throughout his time with the Cougars. And he's got to step back up to the plate after that foul ball. That's always a lot tougher. You know, you see a lot of times somebody gets hit by a pitch. They get to walk it off to first base, but to have to step back in, that's a tough challenge.
Especially with a 1-2 count. I mean, you're already dealing with the pain, and now you, like you said, got to go back up and try to pick up a hit.
1-2 to Vinal. And another one foul. Boy, that would have been really tough. It would have gone right back off the same spot. Davidson did not pitch in round 1, so he's well rested. 1-2, Vinal smacks to center field, and that gets down a base hit. Once again, Colin, the Cougars get the leadoff man aboard, as they did in the bottom of the first.
It's just great to see. I mean, it's something we didn't see much in that Milwaukee series. So, I mean, the bats as a whole, top to bottom, have just been producing.
7 hits already for the Cougars. So here's Nick D'Alessandro. He grounded out his first time, swings at the first pitch and fouls it back. D'Alessandro, a former Chicago Dog, spent last year in Rosemont. Hit over 300. Didn't have the same offensive success this year for the Cougars, but he's been productive in the postseason. 3 hits in round 1, including a big hit in the 9th inning in Game 3, which moved Vinal to second and allowed him to score on 2 straight wild pitches.
Yeah, he came in clutch, and really he finished the season on a 6-game hit streak, so he's been kind of finding some success at the dish.
Right time of the year. After it was a difficult season at the plate for D'Alessandro, but he was very good catching, obviously, especially for Connor Ash. Been sort of the personal catcher for Ash. So here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball out of the zone. D'Alessandro down on strikes for out number 1. So here's Zane Spinn, the rookie shortstop. Flied out into right field his first time up. Takes the first pitch fastball strike. Another fastball in there, 0-2. I think that's been the biggest difference with Zach Davidson so far, although he did give up the single to Final. We saw in the case of both Nedro and Pridgeon falling behind early, but Davidson doing a nice job getting ahead in the count.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we saw 3 walks between those two pitchers, and most of the singles coming from hitters' counts as well. So it's just a different ball game as a pitcher when you have some pitches to work with.
That one inside. Spin scooting away from it. 2-2 count. That's a called strike 3. Second consecutive strikeout for Davidson.
Stepping to the plate, center fielder, number 5, Trenton Craig.
Yeah, back-to-back, like you mentioned. They got that lefty matchup, too, which helps. And Spin wasn't getting what he was looking for on that one, able to just catch the outside edge. And now stepping up for the 3rd time in 3 innings, Trenton Craig.
And he's got 2 singles, 2 runs scored thus far. Takes a first pitch strike.
Maybe he'll hit 8 innings in a row.
Wouldn't that be something? Little tapper foul, 0-2. So once again, we see Davidson quickly get to a 2-strike count. Oh-2 pitch, the runner goes as that one's fouled. So Final will have to head back to first.
Well, at the very least, that hopefully answers questions about how Claudio's leg is feeling.
Yes.
If he's willing to take a steal
there. Good chance to test it out. Glad he's doing all right. Oh-2 and another one foul for near the Dogs dugout. Oh-2, Final running again, and a swing and a miss. 3 straight strikeouts from Zach Davidson after the leadoff single. We'll head to the 4th. Cougars still lead 7-2. Top of the 4th inning, Connor Ash stepping back up to the mound, looking to put up another 0 after the Dogs have scored a run in each of the last 2 innings. He'll face 5, 6, and 7 for Chicago, beginning with Chance Sisco, who singled his first time up. First pitch strike in there. That one also in there for a strike, 0-2. Chance Sisco, the former major leaguer. 191 games with the Baltimore Orioles. 5 with the New York Mets as well. But Ash has him down in the count, 0-2. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, he checked up, and he did not go around on the appeal to Alex Perry. Here's the 1-2. Outside. Sisco was the most consistent bat for Chicago in the regular season. As there's a swing and a miss. 3rd strikeout for Connor Ash, his 2nd straight.
And this is where KA starts to get dangerous. When you let him settle in and he starts getting ahead on 0-2 counts, I've said it all season long, there are not many that live to tell the tale. Going down 0-2 against Connor Ash and now back-to-back Ks, I think there's going to be more to follow.
Dusty Stroop at the plate now. He had a sacrifice fly to drive in a run the 2nd inning, his first time up. Stroop in his 2nd year with Chicago. That sacrifice fly, his 2nd RBI of the 2025 postseason. Well, what's remarkable about Connor Ash this year, he has pitched a lot more innings than he ever had previously in his baseball career. That one's fouled away. Ash was primarily a relief pitcher in his time in the Phillies organization. He did start 10 games at the AA level last year. But including the postseason now, Ash is over 130 innings. Prior to this year, the most he had pitched in a year was 63 2/3. 1-2 into right center field, and that ball will get down. Stroop around first. Upshaw comes up, firing towards second, but it's a double for Dusty Stroop.
Yeah, that is Stroop's third double of the postseason now, so he has really been seeing the ball well and picking up extra base hits. But good news is nobody aboard for the Dogs. It does put somebody in scoring position with one out, but no damage done yet for Connor Ash and the Cougars.
So here's Trip Clark. Popped out to first base his first time and pops this one up. Foul territory left side, but that ball going out of play. Well, Connor Ash knows he's got to be careful because you've got a big lead, 5 runs. But the Cougars have seen firsthand the ability of this Chicago Dogs team to come back. There was a game around the 4th of July. The Cougars had a big lead with Jack Fox on the mound. It was 6-1, I believe. The Dogs came back to win that game 7-6. And sometimes you can see wacky things happen in this league, and especially in the postseason. So we'll see how Ash responds here with the runner at second and 1 out.
Yeah, and I'm certainly not trying to speak it into existence, but the Dogs are doing the right thing to work your way back into a game where you're giving up 7 runs in 2 innings. Just picking up a run here and there every inning to all of a sudden you look up and the score's 7-6 late, and you just never know what can happen then.
2-1, and Ash with a throw to second. It goes into center field. He tried to get Stroop, and now Stroop will have third base on the errant throw. He was leaning a little bit off of second. Ash tried to get him, but the throw wasn't there.
We've seen a lot of Connor Ash pickoff attempts over to first base, not so much over to second. You see Ash reacting immediately, knowing probably would have been good to just hold on to that one, but it's a completely different situation now with a 2-1 count and a runner at third.
And Clark pops it high in the air, right center. This looks like it'll be deep enough. Craig makes the catch. Stroop tagging from third. And the Cougars not even really attempting to throw out Stroop. It's a sacrifice fly. Now it's 7-3.
Third sacrifice fly of the game now for the Chicago Dogs. All 3 of their runs being scored via sacrifice fly. But, you know, that's unfortunately the way it goes when you make a mistake. I mean, you open up the door. That maybe, probably even wouldn't have moved a runner over to third base there. So, you know, that falls directly on the air by Connor Ash.
That's unfortunate for Ash there. First pitch to Johnny Turbo in for a strike. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
And this is the best thing that Connor Ash can do after something like that. Turn around and face Johnny Turbo, have a short-term memory, and just try to get out of this inning, only giving up the 1 run.
Here's the 0-2 from Ash. Tapped foul.
Had a little friendly fire there.
Always got to keep a close eye when you're on that top rail of the dugout. That was Jacob Teeter. Caught that foul ball. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Ash. Just low. Trying to get him with the breaking ball there. It's 1-2. Turbo stays alive with a chopper. Another 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike three. Fourth strikeout for Connor Ash. But for a third straight inning, the Dogs score a run on a sacrifice fly. It's 7-3 as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Bottom of the fourth inning at Northwestern Medicine Field, and you can stay up to date on everything in the American Association by following the league's social media channels and download the app by logging on to aabaseball.com. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Cougars. It'll be Zach Davidson back on the mound. He is the first Dogs pitcher tonight, Colin, that has gone into a second inning of work.
Yeah, I mean, he looked pretty good in that third inning against the Cougars. Struck out the side after giving up that single to Claudio Final. However, this is where the damage has been done for the Cougars, and now that the Dogs have slowly been creeping back in this game, it'd be nice to see the door kind of get slammed in their face again and picking up a few more runs here in the bottom of the fourth.
Yeah, this top part of the order has been extremely productive. 1 through 4. 1 through 3, really, looking at Craig, Allen, and Chu. All three of them have reached base both times they've come to the plate as Josh takes a first pitch strike, although Trenton Craig struck out his third time up. We'll see if Josh Allen reaches a third time tonight. 2 walks so far in this game and fouls that one 0-2. So just like last inning, Davidson able to get ahead.
Yeah, and you pointed that out last inning, that unlike Nedro and Pridgeon, Davidson's done a nice job getting ahead in counts, and I think he's been reaping what he's been sowing.
0-2, and Josh spoils it foul to stay alive. Nedro issued 2 walks. Pridgeon issued 1. But it did just seem like the Cougars were getting ahead every time they stepped up. 0-2, upstairs. Davidson made the second most appearances for the Dogs in the regular season, as that's a swing and a miss. Allen down on strikes. 4th straight strikeout for Zach Davidson.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Chicago Dogs, this is exactly what you needed. I mean, again, we saw a shot where there were 4 Chicago Dog pitchers warming up. It didn't really seem like they knew where they were going to turn to if the wheels kept on falling off. But Davidson has really done a nice job stepping in and steadying the ship so far.
First pitch to Marcus Chu and a swing and a miss on a fastball. Chu is 2 for 2 with a pair of singles, including one that drove in a run in the first inning. Cougars scored 3 in the first, 4 in the second. But Zach Davidson has steadied the waters here for the Dogs, as we've been talking about here, after 2 tough innings for Jack Nedro and Patrick Pridgeon. Davidson has been able to bridge that gap as that misses down low to Chu. What an incredible trade made by George Samus back in early June to pick up Marcus Chu from the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks, as Chu lifts this one into center field, but coming over to make the play is Reggie Pruitt Jr. for the second out.
Five straight retired now for Zach Davidson and the Chicago Dogs. But we know this is a man in Todd Lott that is certainly capable of changing that up. A grand slam for him in the second inning of this game.
First pitch to Lott, fouled, third base side. A grand slam in that second inning. What a moment. As he takes that one for a strike, 0-2.
Well, it's huge. And I mean, not just for being a grand slam, but now that you see the Dogs starting to creep back in, I mean, those 4 runs, that is a lot of insurance that the Cougars are needing at this point.
That one low and in. At the time he hit it, it made it a 7-1 ball game, but since then the Dogs been able to pick up a couple more runs, get it to 7-3. 1-2 pitch. That one smoked, but just foul. Well, Todd Lott showed up in a big way in the postseason last year for the Cougars. He had 6 doubles, helping the team to a Miles Wolf Cup championship. Pops this one up. just off the edge of the infield, and Jalen Williams, the second baseman, makes the catch. A 1-2-3 inning for Zach Davidson. He is now retired 6 straight, and we'll go to the 5th inning. The Cougars ahead 7-3. Top of the 5th inning, Connor Ash back on the mound, looking to put up a 0. The Dogs have scored a run in 3 straight innings. Cougars at one point led this game 7-1. Now 7-3, 9-1-2 due up for the Dogs, beginning with Reggie Pruitt Jr. Hits this one high in the air to left. McGarry going back towards the track and makes the catch. That one had a little bit of carry on it, but stayed in the yard.
Second time we've seen Reggie Pruitt Jr. fly out to left. And you know, the last 2 innings, Connor Ash has started with a first out in the inning, and then it was the second man aboard that gave him trouble. So let's see what he can do against Henry Kuziak.
Kuziak 1 for 2, popped up in the first, singled in the third. Pitch count is at 70 for Ash, as that's in for a strike.
Well, and the good news is with a day of rest, the full arsenal probably available for the Cougars. A lot of big arms ready to go in the back part of this bullpen.
That one low and in. The bullpen played a huge role in winning that series against Milwaukee. I'd argue, Colin, the bullpen collectively the MVP of that series for the Cougars, as this one is skied high in the air. Final, the third baseman, looking for it, and he's got it. Nicely done right in front of the Dogs' dugout for out number 2.
Really good concentration there from Claudio, and just good awareness. I mean, took the time to take his eyes off the ball to just check where he was at. And, you know, some people can get psyched out when they're that close to the dugout to make a catch, but Claudio's as good as they come at these kind of plays.
So here's Jalen Williams, 1 for 2 tonight. Swings at the first pitch, bounces it to short, spin over to first, and a 1-2-3 inning for Connor Ash, his first 1-2-3 frame since the first inning. We're halfway home in Kane County. The Cougars lead 7-3. Bottom of the 5th inning at Northwestern Medicine Field on a crisp, cool night in September. Playoff baseball weather, 73 degrees. I think it might have cooled down a little bit, maybe more mid-60s, but this is very comfortable. This is actually a little bit warmer than it was over the weekend against Milwaukee.
I haven't put on the quarter zip yet. And you know I'd be the first to tell you if it's cold outside, so.
Weather update presented to you by Schaefer's Greenhouses. And there you see that 2024 champions banner out in right center field. The Cougars trying to keep their repeat hopes alive. Game 1 of the East Division Championship Series. And so far, so good. A 7-3 lead as we enter the bottom of the 5th. 5, 6, and 7 due up. Beginning with Armand Upshaw. Zach Davidson is on for a 3rd inning of work as Upshaw slices the first pitch foul out of play. Armand is 0 for 2 tonight, although he did pick up an RBI in the first inning on a ground out. That's in for a strike, 0-2. Zach Davidson has now thrown 35 pitches, 27 strikes, only 8 balls. What a job he's done. Check swing from Upshaw, and he did not go.
It'd be nice to get Armand aboard. I mean, we know what he's capable of doing with his speed. And even if it's not stealing bags, just having it.
Called strike 3 on the outside corner. That is the 5th strikeout for Zach Davidson.
Just a big looping curveball here that stayed on the outside edge and never moved. Really nice pitch, and we've just been seeing a lot of that from Zach Davidson in this game.
Only 1 base runner for the Cougars against Davidson as McGarry takes inside. That was after they scored 3 runs in the first, 4 in the second against Jack Nedrow and Patrick Pridgeon, respectively. That one in for a strike, 1-1. Cougars faced Davidson 5 times in the regular season. They did score 5 earned runs, 6 total runs in 10 2/3 against Davidson. But only a .216 average against, and he had 14 strikeouts in those 10 2/3 innings. So you can see the strikeouts are showing up once again tonight. One-two to McGarry, low and away. Alex 1 for 2 tonight, had that RBI single back in the first inning. See if he can come away with a 2-strike hit and a swing and a miss. 6th strikeout for Davidson.
Yeah, he's really racking him up and finding his groove. That lefty-lefty matchup once again, and you can see just dropping it off the table. Really nice looking breaking ball there. He's got his stuff working tonight.
And he's providing some relief for the remainder of the Chicago Dogs bullpen as Claudio Final takes high and away. Oddly enough, the last time Davidson pitched, it was here in Kane County. Against the Cougars, he went 4 innings and allowed 3 runs, 2 earned. That one in for a strike.
Claudio Final, the last man and only man to get a single off of Davidson.
And he's got another one, as that just slipped under the glove of Henry Kuziak. A hard shot into left center field, and Claudio Final reaches base for the 3rd time tonight.
Well, we might need to take a quick time, and Claudio just needs to explain how to get a hit off of Zach Davidson to everybody else, because that was a nice shot right back up the middle, and see if it can't spur something here with 2 outs.
First base runner for the Cougars since the 3rd inning, and that was, as you mentioned, Colin, Claudio Final. As D'Alessandro with a swing and a miss. Now, Davidson, somebody who has experience not just coming out of the bullpen, but also started some games for the Dogs this year, so he can provide some of that length. Been doing so tonight. Once again, he's ahead 0-2.
You're just relentless. See if he tries to go to that off-speed pitch again. Curveball to try to end D'Alessandro.
0-2, and they've got Final off of first base. Teeter throws to second. Williams running him down. Back to first. Teeter applies the tag, and Final is picked off to end the inning. So we'll head to the 6th. Still a 7-3 lead for the Cougars. Top of the 6th inning, Connor Ash on for a 6th inning of work after a 1-2-3 top of the 5th. He'll face the heart of the order for the Chicago Dogs, Jacob Teeter. Beginning at 3-4-5, first pitch to Teeter. In for a strike.
It was a great 5th inning for Connor Ash. I mean, exactly what he needed where his pitch count was at. Just a quick inning, 3 straight outs. One more of those would go a long way for him and the Cougars.
That was his 75th pitch of the night. Swing and a miss.
And now they've got Logan Nissen warming up in the bullpen. So you wonder if it's just kind of going to plan, right? Logan in the 7th and Casey in the 8th, Jake Gozzo in the 9th.
That's been the recipe. Worked out well in game 3 of round 1. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Ash sets down Teeter on strikes for the 2nd time tonight and has his 5th strikeout.
A little more Connor Ash-esque, at least in the strikeout department. And look at that. None better than that splitter. That is almost impossible to get a piece of. And really, it feels like late in the game, he's starting to settle in.
That is now 6 straight retired as the first pitch misses upstairs to TJ Hopkins. Hopkins is 1 for 2, had a single and came around to score in the 2nd inning, struck out in the 3rd. Line drive just past a diving Zane spin, and Hopkins has his second hit of the night.
Well, the Cougars had the shift on, but when you got a ball that's going 101 miles an hour off the bat, even with the shift, that's a tough play to make. Spin gave it a good run, but falls into left field for a base hit.
Brings up Chance Cisco. 1 for 2 tonight. Singled in the second, struck out in the fourth. Middle infield at double play depth, hoping for a ground ball. First pitch on the ground. Chu flips to throw to second for one. High throw, and that's the only out the Cougars will get as Zane's spin touches down. That's a tough play to make. We've seen Marcus Chu make it, but it was a little bit of a slow roller, so it might have been tough even if that's a good throw.
Yeah, it would have been a tough turn, especially with Cisco flying down the line. And really give credit to the rookie here in a postseason game, not trying to make the throw and force anything with 2 outs. You still have just a runner at first base. Much rather have that trade-off.
So here's Dusty Stroop. 1 for 1. Had a sacrifice fly, takes a first pitch strike on a breaking ball. Drove in a run in the second with that sac fly and then doubled his last time up. Check swing, he did not go, just held up. I think the Cougars fans didn't like that too much, neither did Connor Ash. Those are always the toughest calls to make on the check swing. Could really go either way almost every time. A little bit high there from Ash. Stroop pops it up, foul. And that'll go out of play. Marcus Chu going all the way to the netting as he normally does.
You know he has to see it land first for him to believe it's foul and out of play.
For those of you joining us on Unbeaten tonight, you might not know much about Marcus Chu, but he was last year's Defensive Player of the Year in the American Association at first base. He's made some incredible catches on balls in foul territory. 2-2. That one way foul out of the ballpark.
Yeah, Marcus Chu didn't move at all on that one, so you know it had to be very foul.
He has gone up on top of the tarp. He caught one in the bullpen avoiding chairs. The pitchers in the bullpen had to move the chairs around. 2-2 pitch. And Stroop staying alive again. Good battle here.
And Stroop's had a pretty solid night. He's 1 for 1 with an RBI, that sacrifice fly in the second. Picked up his 4th double of the postseason in the 4th inning. Came around and scored. So this would be a big out for Connor Ash.
2-2. Little bouncer, third base side, and it's going foul. Claudio Final with the little kick of the baseball to touch it in foul territory. Well, it's a break for the Cougars. That one went foul. If it stays fair, almost certainly an infield single. George Samus hoping his ace can get through 6 innings with the Cougars in front by 4. 5th-year manager of the Cougars. A legend in the American Association. 2-2. Foul again. Dusty Stroop battling here with one of the best pitchers in the league, Connor Ash, who's hoping to get through 6. Trying to earn his 2nd win of the postseason. Right now he's in line for it. Pitch count is at 88. Another 2-2. Got him! Called strike 3. 6th strikeout for Connor Ash. And what a way to end his night, if that is the end of his night. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Cougars lead 7-3. A full moon for Game 1 of the East Division Championship Series in Kane County. The Cougars lead 7-3 over the Chicago Dogs. And are you tired of drinks that promise flavor but strike out? Carbless hits the spot with bold taste, 0 carbs, and 0 sugar. Perfect for drinking light while cheering on your team. Well, so far tonight, Colin, Cougars fans have plenty to cheer about. A 7-3 lead, but they haven't scored since the second inning. That's all due to Zach Davidson. He's only allowed 2 hits. He's got 6 strikeouts, no walks. After we saw Jack Nedro and Patrick Pridgeon really struggle, let's see if the bottom of the order can get something going for the Cougars here.
They could use it. They're combined 0 for 4 with a couple strikeouts. So Nick D'Alessandro, Zane Spinn both do, and they've picked up some big hits in that first series against Milwaukee.
D'Alessandro swings at the first pitch, pokes it into right field, and that gets down and by Johnny Turbo. D'Alessandro heading for second. He's rounding second, going for third, and D'Alessandro is in there with a triple to lead off the bottom of the 6th. The former Dog strikes a blow against his old team.
Mickey Wheels on that one, and we've been talking about his speed all season long, and he finally got to put it on full display. Look at that. Perfect base running, touching the inside corner of the bag, sliding into third base, and a big leadoff triple right when the Cougars needed it.
Infield is in for Chicago as Zane Spinn chops it foul. I think we've said a few times this year that Nick D'Alessandro is really fast for a catcher. After seeing that play, he's really just fast for any position player.
You can drop the just for a catcher part.
0-1 to Spinn, and he floats it into right center field. That'll bring in a run. Zane Spinn makes it 8-3 Cougars.
Well, you called for it, Connor, and they answered. The bottom part of the order, a triple from Nick D'Alessandro, and then a perfectly placed ball here by Zane Spinn. He comes up big again. His second RBI in the postseason now. First hit of the game for Zane Spinn.
And those RBIs have come in back-to-back games for the rookie shortstop. Back to the top of the order for the Cougars. Trendon Craig, 2 for 3 tonight. Takes a first pitch inside. What we mentioned, Colin, is with Zach Davidson, he was having so much success, always getting ahead 0-2. Now he faces some adversity, falls behind Trendon Craig. That one, nice response on the outer half for strike 1. Spinn with a decent lead off of first and a pickoff attempt. He's back.
Well, so far, the Cougars have only stolen 1 base this postseason. Armand Upshaw, the only one, but we know there's certainly members of this team that are capable of it, and Zane Spinn is one of them.
Swing and a miss there from Craig. And it looks like a balk called against Davidson. He can't believe it, as Zane Spinn is awarded second base. Matt Passarelli now coming out to plead his case.
Yeah, I was looking at my book. I didn't really see what happened, but clearly Matt Passarelli looking for an explanation. But it changes the dynamic of this at-bat for Trendon Craig now.
Going out to talk with Tom Swoboda.
Yeah, not sure.
Not sure if he's saying he didn't come completely set.
Well,
tough to see there.
I said it changes the trajectory, too. I mean, that was a strike, but now that gets wiped off the board, so it's actually a 1-1 count to Trendon Craig.
And Craig shoots it foul, the right side off the netting, 1-2. Still nobody out. This bottom of the 6th inning as the Cougars look to cushion their lead. One-two pitch. Another one foul to the right side. Logan Nissen continuing to get loose for the Cougars. Expect to see him in the 7th. Craig checks his swing, went around for strike 3, the throw to first in time. So now Davidson with 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's pretty unreal for, what, 3 1/3 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts.
Here's Josh Allen. He's 0 for 1, struck out against Davidson, did work 2 walks in the first 2 innings, and he takes high and away.
There's only been 2 outs that haven't been strikeouts from Zach Davidson.
That one low and in, 2-0.
I guess technically 3. Claudio Finale got picked off.
See what Josh Allen can do with this 2-0 pitch. Skies it in the air, right center, and Pruitt Jr. there to make the catch.
Davidson's done a good job after surrendering a triple and a single, already given up 1 run, and then the balk to move a runner into scoring position with nobody out to come back and pick up a couple of outs.
Now here's Marcus Chu, 2 for 3 tonight. Couple of singles, one that brought in a run in that 3-run first inning for the Cougars. Takes a first pitch strike on a breaking ball. The Cougars scored 7 runs in the first 2 innings. As that one inside. But now this 1 run in the 6th. Their first run since the 2nd. With Davidson having the success that he has, it's allowed the Dogs to come closer in this game, but a good response by the Cougars here, getting at least 1 in this inning, looking for some more. As Chu takes down low. Fouled away. Spin with a good-sized lead off of second base. 2-2 swing and a miss. Chu down on strikes, but the Cougars add to their lead. A triple from Nick D'Alessandro. And a Zane Spin single makes it 8-3 as we go to the 7th from Northwestern Medicine Field. Top of the 7th inning, Logan Nissen comes on for the Cougars. In his 4th year in a Cougars uniform, and he provided some good work for the Cougars in Game 3. 2/3 scoreless. He'll face 7, 8, and 9 for the Dogs. First pitch strike to Trip Clark.
Well, I'm a little bit curious just about bullpen management with an 8-3 lead as it sits. I mean, if Logan Nissen can keep that score where it is, and especially if the Cougars maybe add some insurance in the bottom of the 7th, there's probably no need to go to Crosby and Gozo.
Yeah, there's 2 schools of thought there. I mean, obviously work to be done here for Nissen. As there's a swing and a miss. Some people would say, okay, you've got a 5-run lead. Maybe go to more of the middle relief type option. Don't use Casey Crosby. Don't use Jake Gozo. But the other school of thought is that one's just outside. Don't mess around. And that's not to discredit any of the other Cougars relievers. They definitely have other capable pitchers that could come in and do well. But sometimes you need that mentality of let's get this job done. Here's the 2-2. That misses low and away. And also, in postseason play, especially when you have an off day following Game 2, you're probably okay using certain relievers on back-to-back nights. 3-2 pitch. High for ball 4. So Nissen does issue a walk to the first man he faces. A quality start tonight for Connor Ash. Went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs, only 2 earned on 6 hits, 6 strikeouts, no walks. So here's Johnny Turbo. First pitch in for a strike. Turbo is 0 for 2, flied out in the second. Struck out later on as this one is lofted into right center. That drops down for a hit. Trip Clark around second. He's into third. Runners at the corners with nobody out.
Quick work here by the Dogs to put the pressure on Logan Nissen right away. And good at bat by Johnny Turbo. I mean, he is a veteran in this game, knowing that really Nissen needed to come back and start throwing some strikes, so he was expecting something in the zone and was just able to push one into the outfield.
Well, we've seen Logan Nissen. He's probably better than any Cougar reliever at getting in and out of trouble. It seems like when there's runners on the bases, he doesn't get too flustered. He's usually able to minimize damage. And the Cougars have a 5-run lead to work with here, but still nobody out
right
in this top of the 7th. But you definitely take a ball on the ground here, although Reggie Pruitt Jr. has really good speed. He's 0 for 2 tonight. First pitch in for a strike.
Well, we got to look at Casey Crosby warming up for the Cougars down the right field line. So probably more your school of thought, Connor.
0-1, swing and a miss. Yeah, I think you can't take any chances. And again, I don't want to take anything away from other Cougar relievers.
Sure.
But postseason baseball, crazy things can happen. And a tight situation right now for Logan Nissen. 0-2 pitch. Low and away. Pruitt Jr. laying off that one in the dirt.
This would be a good strikeout for Logan Nissen to go get the first out, and then it sets up that double play ball to get out of the inning.
1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him to chase the outside slider. And Nissen gets a critical first out.
Well, you mentioned this a little earlier, Connor, but we've seen this from Logan Nissen before. I mean, he had 22 walks in the regular season. We've seen him get in trouble, but he's just so good when he settles in that a lot of times it doesn't even matter.
Here's Henry Kuziak, 1 for 3 tonight. First pitch a little high and in. Clark at third, Turbo at first. Cougars lead 8-3 here in the top of the 7th inning. The Dogs threatening once again here. That's fouled away, 1-1. Just missed the zone. Off-speed pitch there. It was close, but just a little bit off. 2-1. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Got the fastball by him at 93. And another 2-strike count to Henry Kuziak. See if Nissen can come away with a second straight strikeout. Time called by Kuziak. See that so often with the 2-strike count. Hitter getting a chance to regather himself. 2-2. Popped up, Allen going out, and he makes the catch, tumbling down into right field. What a play by the Cougar second baseman.
Man, we just keep seeing big defensive plays. That is shifting momentum. Josh Allen on a dead sprint into right field, looking over the shoulder like a wide receiver and making the catch. That is big time for out number 2.
2 straight outs for Nissen. Here's Jalen Williams. 1 for 3 tonight. First pitch just high from Nissen. It was 1st and 3rd with nobody out. And Nissen with an opportunity to toss a scoreless top of the 7th. Flared down the right field side, but that's going foul out of play.
I thought that was going foul easy, but it was holding up there for a minute.
It was a little bit closer than it looked initially. This into right, Upshaw back on it. He makes the catch. What a job by Logan Nissen. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. 3 straight outs. We go to the stretch. It's an 8-3 lead for the Cougars. Bottom of the 7th inning at Northwestern Medicine Field. An 8-3 lead for the Cougars in Game 1 of the East Division Championship Series. Let's look at the other Division Championship Series over in the West Column. Fargo-Moorhead with a 1-0 lead over Sioux Falls. That is such an intriguing matchup because you have the powerhouse pitching of the Redhawks against the dominant bats of the Sioux Falls Canaries. And so far, it seems like the pitching is winning out for Fargo-Moorhead.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, too, when that series shifts back going to Sioux Falls and the way the ball can fly out of that ballpark and the way the Canaries have been hitting it, specifically Jabari Henry, 3 home runs in that Game 3.
Well, it's a new pitcher on the mound for the Chicago Dogs. Eric Lynn entering after really quality work by Zach Davidson. He'll face Todd Lott to start the bottom of the 7th, and Lott with a big cut, but a miss at the first pitch. Todd is 1 for 3 tonight, but the one hit, a big one. The biggest hit of the night, the biggest hit of the postseason for the Cougars, a grand slam in the 2nd inning as he takes low and away. There's the numbers for Lynn during the regular season. Very good year for Chicago. 30 strikeouts, 9 walks, and 26 2/3 as Lott fouls it away. Lynn also did not pitch in round 1 against Lake Country. Of course, the Dogs only had 2 games, so the bullpen somewhat well rested. Zach Davidson, who we saw, didn't pitch in round 1 as this is bounced up the middle. The shortstop, Kuziak, is there for out number 1. Casey Crosby still getting loose down the right field line for the Cougars. Here's Upshaw. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Takes the first pitch upstairs. But Armand did have an RBI in that first inning on a ground out. High and inside there, 2-0. Cougars saw Eric Lynn 7 times in the regular season. That one misses as well. They had some success against him. Scored 9 runs in 10 2/3 innings, 6 of them earned. Hit .250 against him. 3-0, Upshot taking, and takes strike 1.
It's a lot of games to see one reliever in a season.
Absolutely. These teams are very familiar as there's a swing and a miss, 3-2.
Well, Lynn's doing a nice job right now fighting back in this at-bat. He was down 3-0, 2 straight strikes now to Upshaw. See if Armand can find some success here on the full count.
Here's the payoff, and Upshaw goes the opposite way. That's a fair ball down the right field line. Armand turning on the Jets, and he'll slow up heading into second with an easy 1-out double.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, you knew this was a double as soon as it got past first base. That's the kind of speed that Armand Upshaw has. And now with just 1 out as well, Something can get in the outfield for Alex McGarry. Probably another run getting pushed across for the Cougars.
Second double of the postseason for Upshaw. McGarry 1 for 3 tonight, had that RBI single back in the first inning. And McGarry takes upstairs.
That is also now every Cougar getting a board in this game after Upshaw just reached there on a double.
McGarry hits it high in the air, fairly deep center. Pruitt Jr., though, ranges over and makes the catch for the second out.
Third baseman, number 4.
So it's up to Claudio Final to keep this bottom of the 7th going. He has reached base all 3 times he's come to the plate tonight, a walk and 2 singles. He's up to 4 hits now in the postseason.
A chance to earn his 3rd RBI in 4 games.
Claudio hit .346 in the 2024 Miles Wolf Cup playoffs. He was a big part of the offense for last year's championship team. He stepped up in a big way so far this year as he takes that one outside, 2-0.
Well, he is one of the guys we talked about in that last series against the Dogs that it'd just be really nice to have his bat show up and wake up for the postseason. And it certainly has been so far.
Takes a strike there. Lynn took something off. It's a 5-run lead, but the Dogs did score 1 run each in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th inning, and the Cougars know they've got a lot of fight in them. As that's in for a strike. Every playoff series, I mean, it's so obvious, but you talk about the importance of winning game 1. Just starting a series on the right foot, it makes a massive difference. So here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Final down on strikes, so Lynn works around that 1-out double. We go to the 8th, a 5-run lead for the Cougars in Game 1 of the East Division Championship Series. Top of the 8th inning, Casey Crosby on for the Cougars. 36-year-old former major leaguer with the Detroit Tigers back in 2012. And he'll face 3, 4, and 5 for the Chicago Dogs, beginning with Jacob Teeter and a swing and a miss. 93-mile-per-hour fastball from Crosby, and Colin, he was outstanding in round 1 against Milwaukee.
You're not kidding. I mean, especially that first game, striking out 4 in a row. And he's just been that way all season. It's been such a pleasure to watch Casey Crosby in that setup role for the Cougars. And that's been one of the most killer combinations for an 8-9 inning pitching. That's Casey Crosby going to Jake Gozo.
Well, in round 1, Crosby faced 9 hitters. He struck out 6 of them. There's a swing and a miss from Teeter on a 95-mile-per-hour heater.
Well, he cranks it up, and it gets even more difficult to face Casey Crosby when he's got the off-speed pitch working as well, because you just never know what's going to leave his hand.
2-2 pitch. Over to the shift. Claudio Final to first for out number 1. Good defense there by the Cougars. Final playing normally where Zane's spin would be, but everybody shifted over towards the right against Teeter.
Well, fielder, number 34, TJ Hopkins.
That brings up TJ Hopkins, and the Cougars will shift to the other side of the infield. First pitch in for a strike, 93-mile-per-hour fastball. Notably, Casey Crosby, a former Chicago Dog. Pitched with the Dogs in 2019 and 20 as this is bounced to the left side. Spin up with it to first for out number 2.
It's just amazing that both of those at-bats, just the way Casey Crosby has been playing, are almost successful at-bats. Like, just
if you
putting
can
the
make
ball
contact
in play.
against Casey Crosby. I mean, with the number of strikeouts, it has been remarkable. 6 strikeouts through 2 2/3 in the playoffs entering tonight, as there's a swing and a miss from Cisco. And Crosby in the regular season had 55 strikeouts in 41 innings. And he just got better and better as the year went along, as that one is fouled back 0-2.
Well, I'm sure we'll see what happens in the bottom of the 8th, but right now it is the Bullet, Zach Veen, warming up in the Cougars bullpen.
So maybe can save Jake Gozo for a night, as here's the 0-2. Popped up foul. Crosby with a long look in. 0-2 pitch. Low and away.
Well, could certainly afford that pitch being ahead 0-2. Curious, I haven't really seen the off speed yet. Does he try to go for it here against Cisco, or does he just try to blow one by him like he's been doing this inning?
See what he does. The 1-2 pitch. Took a little something off, but missed just a bit outside. 2-2.
Now I think there's probably no question. It's probably going to be back to fastball here.
2-2. He goes back to the fastball. Cisco fouls it away. I think he had an idea that that heater was coming from Casey Crosby.
Well, it's funny. It's just most times it doesn't matter. I mean, you know it's going to be a fastball, but still in the mid-90s, the location is everything for Casey Crosby, and he just hits his spots.
Another 2-2. And Cisco again spoils it away, foul.
Yeah, and he went back to the off-speed on that one. Only came in at 88, so opens the door up again to try to go back-to-back off-speed or try to throw the heater by.
Yet another 2-2. Swing and a miss. A 1-2-3 inning for Casey Crosby, and he continues to be lights out in the Miles Wolf Cup playoffs. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Cougars lead 8-3. Tonight's CapEx tip of the cap goes to Cougars designated hitter Todd Lott with this grand slam down the left field line in the bottom of the 2nd inning, hitting it right over the Showalter sign in left field. That gave the Cougars a 7-1 lead at the time. Tonight's tip of the cap is sponsored by CapEx, the official hat provider of the American Association. Check out the Headwear Innovation Lab at capexlab.com. New pitcher into the ball game once again for the Chicago Dogs. It is John Baker. He is the 5th pitcher we've seen tonight for Chicago. His first postseason appearance in 2025. He was a starter all throughout the regular season. 16 games started, 5.71 ERA and 80 1/3. And he'll face Nick D'Alessandro, who foul tips the first pitch. So Matt Passarelli turning to John Baker here, trailing by 5 runs. And I think maybe, Colin, here, it's not necessarily you have confidence that Baker can get outs. You still have to have some confidence in your team to make a 5-run comeback in the 9th. But as D'Alessandro now goes the opposite way into the right field corner, and that is a fair ball. He's already got 1 triple tonight. Let's see if he can get another. Rounding second, he puts on the brakes, and he'll take a 2-bagger. So we got 2 of the harder parts of the cycle tonight with the triple and the double. That one, probably a good idea to put on the brakes, not risk it with nobody out.
I think he was thinking 3 off the bat, though, but probably a good call to listen to David Holmberg here and hold up at second. And just slammed on the brakes there. But what a night for Nick D'Alessandro. 2 for 4 with a couple extra base hits and a run scored. That is a bat that the Cougars are relying on at the bottom part of the order.
5 hits now in the postseason for D'Alessandro. As here's Zane Spinn. He had an RBI single earlier back in the 6th inning after D'Alessandro tripled. That one outside. But I think, Colin, although the Dogs, it's not to say they're conceding the game, but they may just want Baker to eat this inning here instead of going to somebody that they typically would late in the ball game.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I could be wrong, but I'm guessing this run means something to the Cougars as well as far as who's going to pitch in the 9th inning. There's Jake Gozo was warming up by himself, but as soon as D'Alessandro hit that double, Jordan Martinson is now also starting to get loose in the pen.
That one bounced to the left side of the infield. Tough play for Kuziak, and he has to just eat it. An infield single for Zane Spinn.
You know what? You got to credit an assist here to Nick D'Alessandro because he was bouncing all over on second base, and it pushed Kuziak over to second, expecting maybe a throw. And after that, it was a soft roller by Zane Spinn, and Kuziak was out of position. Spinn's wheels was enough to get to first, and nobody out.
Great point there, Colin. Absolutely made it more difficult for Kuziak there. First and second, nobody out for Trendon Craig. And TC fouls the first pitch. He is 2 for 4 tonight. In the top of the 9th inning, Chicago will have 6, 7, and 8 due up. Swing and a miss, 0-2. That one gets away. Both runners will advance. So it's now 2nd and 3rd with nobody out on the wild pitch.
Well, a much different situation, but it's hard not to think back to just a couple nights ago. Wild pitch setting up runners at 2nd and 3rd, and one more wild pitch pushed the game-winning run across. But big moment here for Trendon Craig to potentially drive in a couple runs.
The Dogs have the infield in, trying to prevent the Cougars from extending this lead. A little bit inside. Two-two pitch. Craig bounces it right back up the middle. D'Alessandro is home. Spin right behind him, and it's 10-3 as Trendon Craig knocks in 2.
I love this game by Trendon Craig. 0 for 10 in the first series, but he kept his head on right, knew this was a brand new series, and now, how about 3 for 5, 2 runs scored, and now a couple RBIs on top of it. What a game for the leadoff man for the Cougars. And with that, it is now solely Jordan Martinson warming up in the bullpen.
No surprise there, as here's Josh Allen, who's walked a couple of times, a swing and a miss at the first pitch. We talked about it earlier with the 5-run or the 4-run lead. No messing around, but when you get to that 7-run lead, you can probably hold off on using your closer in the 9th inning and save Jake Gozo for tomorrow night. You never know what can happen in postseason play, too. That Game 3, it's a good thing the Cougars scored in the bottom of the 9th because you would have had to go to Jake Gozo for a 2nd inning in the 10th, and then who knows, because you already used Logan Nissen, you already used Casey Crosby. As Allen fouls it away to the right side. Anytime you have that ability to save your closer in a postseason game, you take that opportunity, but you also, in case things go a little bit awry, you have them ready to go to back up whoever comes in.
Well, and I like the move, too, to have Martinson go. I mean, he hasn't pitched in a week, and when he has pitched, he's pitched really well. So, I mean, he's a guy that maybe with it being a 5-game series here in the East Division Championship and then potential 5, like a guy you're going to want to have as an option in the back of the bullpen.
There's a swing and a miss from Allen. That is the first out in this bottom of the 8th inning. First strikeout for John Baker. That's a great point as well, Colin, because Jordan Martinson was massive for the Cougars last year as the left-handed specialist. And you think about this lineup for Chicago, having a couple of their big boppers be Jacob Teeter and Chance Sisco. You want to have one of your lefty specialists ready to go as Marcus Chu takes the first pitch upstairs.
Yeah, I think it's a great move because I think Jordan Martinson's a guy that can close out a game. He's been great out of the bullpen recently. You keep him fresh, and you just said it. I mean, he's a guy that might be needed down the line.
Chu lines that one sharply to center, but Reggie Pruitt Jr. there to make the catch.
That one sounded like it might have hurt the hands a little bit of Marcus Chu, especially on a crisp night like tonight.
It was 105 off the bat.
Yeah, he barreled it.
Definitely got it on the barrel for sure.
Maybe it didn't. I couldn't tell if it was sweet spot or, a little bit more in on the hands.
I think it was the sweet spot.
Yeah,
but
105.
The sound didn't seem quite 105.
No.
So here's Todd Lott. And he lines the first pitch off of the glove of Kuziak, and that is the second hit of the night for the Cougars' designated hitter. 107 off the bat of Todd Lott.
Yeah, that one was barreled. And I think it actually kind of hurt Kuziak a little bit when he came down. He looking for the ball, and luckily he got his glove more than his wrist because that would be painful.
Yeah, probably not a good feeling to get any piece of that baseball that was scorched off the bat of Todd Lott. So first and second with 2 outs for Armand Upshaw, who was 1 for 4 tonight and fouls away the first pitch. Dogs have had to go through 5 pitchers tonight. The Cougars will end up using 4. As that's fouled away, 0-2.
4 hits and 2 runs for the Cougars in this inning, and they have really been piling them together here. 10 runs and 15 hits. It's just interesting to think about last series to tonight.
Whoa, watch out. Top step of the dugout. Got to be careful, those line drives right off the dugout. To put those 10 runs into context, the Cougars scored 5 runs in 3 games against the Milwaukee Milkmen to win that series. As that one gets away, another wild pitch. Craig moves up to third, Lott to second.
Yeah, just to clarify that statement, you're not saying game 3, the entire series.
The entire series, 5 runs. So that has to feel great for this Cougar lineup to come through in game 1 after what was a difficult series against Milwaukee offensively and really have an offensive explosion tonight. 1-2, swing and a miss, and that'll end the inning, but the Cougars get 2 more insurance runs. They lead 10-3. They are 3 outs away from a win in game 1 of the East Division Championship Series. Top of the 9th inning, Jordan Martinson enters the ball game looking to record the final 3 outs for the Cougars in game 1 of this East Division Championship Series. 6, 7, and 8 due up for the Chicago Dogs, beginning with Dusty Stroop, who is 1 for 2 tonight. Had an RBI sac fly, also a double, and he pops up the first pitch. Marcus Chu comes back into fair territory, and he makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out for Jordan Martinson.
That's efficient, albeit a little scary, but efficient.
Got a little dicey there. Dusty Stroop, though, he was kind of thought that was foul, so he hadn't gotten far out of the box.
I wonder if it was the lights. I mean, there's no wind. I wonder if he just lost it up in the lights.
There's also a full moon, so it's a bright night.
That's true. Extra light out there.
Trip Clark 0 for 1 tonight. Had an RBI sac fly in the 4th. And he hits that one hard on the ground, but Josh Allen is there to first, and the Cougars are 1 out away from taking game 1.
Really nice work here by Jordan Martinson. I mean, it's a 10-3 lead, but we talk about it a lot. Baseball, there's no clock. I mean, if you're walking people, if you're having pass balls, that's how you set up a comeback. But Jordan Martinson doing a nice job just peppering the zone, making the Dogs make plays, and instead, he's just forcing outs.
Johnny Turbo, the last hope for the Dogs. First pitch from Martinson. In for a strike. Jordan making his 2025 postseason debut, but he was massive for the Cougars in last year's Miles Wolf Cup playoffs. Bounce to the left side, spin, charges over to first in time, and the Cougars win. They dominate game 1, 10-3 over the Chicago Dogs, and what a start to the East Division Championship Series.
You said it, absolute explosion of the bats. 10 runs, 15 hits, a grand slam by Todd Lott in the second. That was really the beginning of the end, and you love to see the insurance run put up at the end of the game. Another great one by Connor Ash, Nissen, Crosby, Martinson. Great win for the Cougars.
Connor Ash earns the win tonight, a quality start for him. Didn't necessarily have his best stuff at the beginning, but he seemed to get better as that game went along, and that's always a great trait to have as a starting pitcher.
Absolutely. I mean, you'll go back on this one if you're Connor Ash, and he's a competitor, so we'll probably look back and say that wasn't his best performance, but he got the job done. He got a quality start. It was another great outing for Connor Ash, 2-0 now in these postseasons, and that just sets up a huge victory for the Cougars in game 1. 2 more to go, 1 more here at Northwestern Medicine Field before a potential 3 at Rosemont.
So the Cougars now just need 2 more wins to go back to the Miles Wolf Cup Finals, but we know it's going to be tough. This rivalry with the Chicago Dogs, it's been a lot of fun since the Cougars joined the American Association in 2021, but a very successful game number 1 for the Cougars. That's going to wrap it up tonight for our producer-director, David Giatris. My partner, Colin Rudisil. I'm Connor Klingen saying so long from Northwestern Medicine Field, where the Cougars win 10-3. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night, 6:30 for Game 2 of the East Division Championship Series, Cougars and Dogs. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in and enjoy the rest of your night on this Monday after a Cougars win.